And here's your host, Michael File.
Thank you. It's time to play the game that's never the same. I'm going to show you a picture of some bark, and you're going to try to be the first to name that bark. Sound good, contestants? Are you ready? Today we'll be focusing on trees associated with morel mushrooms in the eastern United States. Here we go. Our first bark comes from an oppositely branched tree with compound leaves that is used to make baseball bats. This tree is currently in crisis due to an invasive insect. Morchella angusticeps.
The white ash tree.
Correct. The white ash tree, living or dying, could potentially be a host for the yellow morel, the black morel, and the tulip poplar morel. Moving on. Our next bark comes from a tree in the magnolia family that is the state tree of Indiana. This tree's leaves are shaped like the silhouette of a tulip flower. Morchella diminutiva.
The tulip poplar tree?
That is correct. We would have also accepted the American tulip tree or yellow poplar. Living tulip trees are known to be hosts for black morels, yellow morels, and the tulip poplar morel. Very good. All right, moving on to our third bark. This bark is layered and scaly and comes from a vase-shaped, alternately branched tree with a buttressed base. Morchella americana.
What is the American elm tree?
That is correct. Dying elm trees are the primary tree to look for to find yellow morel mushrooms. Well done. And now for the final bark of the round. And let me remind you, there is no need to put your answer in the form of a question. All right, the final bark of the first round. This bark is from an evergreen tree with 5 needles per bundle. It was once sought after for constructing the masts of sailing ships. Morchella diminutiva.
Red pine?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Anyone else? Morchella angusticeps.
The white pine?
That's right, the eastern white pine. It's associated with black morels in transitional areas in the northern parts of the eastern United States. The red pine only has 2 needles per bundle and is not associated with morel mushrooms other than in very rare instances with burn morels. Very interesting. All right, first round's over. Let's take some time and meet our contestants. Hey, big guy, let's start off with you. Yellow morel, Morchella americana. You're doing pretty good so far. You got one answer correct.
I associate with a lot of trees.
So it says here you're the most abundant and the largest of the morels and the last morel to emerge in the spring. All right, moving on to the black morel, Morchella angusticeps. It says here you're the first morel to emerge in the spring.
Yes, it's true. I'm an early riser.
You are a bit more hard to find. Is that true?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's great to hear. Good luck to you. And now let's talk to Morchella diminutiva, otherwise known as the tulip poplar morel. It says you emerge in between the black and the yellow morels and that you can be found in dense tulip poplar groves. Is there any other tree you like to associate with?
I also like ash trees sometimes.
All right, great. Thanks, contestants. Now let's move on to the second round of Name That Bark. This bark is often peely and comes from a tree whose fruit is said to keep the doctor away and whose wood is used for smoking meats. But be careful, morels found around these trees might be contaminated with pesticides. Morchella americana.
Apple tree.
Yes, you got it. Old apple trees often associate with yellow morel mushrooms. Moving on. Our next bark exfoliates and comes from a tree that prefers living close to the water. It has spherical seed balls and big leaves, and this tree is sometimes enormous. Morchella americana.
The American sycamore tree.
Correct, very good. Sycamore trees in floodplains are known to be associated with finding yellow morels as well. On to our next bark. This bark is dark and scaly, giving the appearance of burnt potato chips. It comes from a bitter-smelling tree whose wood is prized for making furniture. Morchella angusticeps.
Now that is a black cherry tree.
That is correct. The black cherry tree can sometimes host black morel mushrooms. And now for the final bark of round 2. This bark is diamond patterned and comes from a compound-leaved, oppositely branched tree that lives in low-lying areas. Morchella diminutiva.
Is it a green ash tree?
That is correct. The green ash is a primary host for the yellow morel mushroom. Stick around. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
That's nice.
And we're back. It's really anyone's game at this point. Morchella americana and Morchella angusticeps both have 3 correct answers. And Morchella diminutiva, you have 2 correct answers. Here we go. Let's start the final round. This bark comes from a tree with asymmetrical and roughly textured leaves. It is also known for having a slimy inner bark. Morchella americana.
That's the bark of a slippery elm tree.
Yes, as I said before, dying elm trees can be a prolific host for the yellow morel mushroom. Our next bark is grayish and deeply furrowed and comes from a water-loving tree known for its seeds covered in fluffy white fibers. Morchella americana.
The eastern cottonwood tree.
Correct. Seeking out cottonwood trees located in floodplains can be a great place to find yellow morel mushrooms. Moving on. This bark comes from an alternately branched tree with compound leaves consisting of 7 to 9 leaflets. The bark is shallow and diamond patterned, and the wood of this tree is strong and often used for tool handles and barbecue. Morchella angusticeps.
Bitternut hickory?
You got it. Bitternut hickory trees are a good indicator of rich, undisturbed soils where both black and morel mushrooms tend to grow. In fact, morel mushrooms are called hickory chickens in some places in Appalachia. All right, this is our final question, our final bark of the day. This will determine who our winner is. This bark has long scaly flakes and comes from a tree common in floodplains whose leaves have a shimmery and shiny undersurface. Morchella diminutiva.
The Shagbark hickory?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Morchella americana?
The silver maple?
Correct! Morchella americana, you have won the game. Tell them what they've won, Don.
Who get to return as our champion and receive $1,000 for every correct answer, as well as getting this beautiful 100% Cotton Mushroom Journeys t-shirt. And as always, our party contestants will be cooked in a garlic cream sauce, garnished with fresh parsley, and served to our studio audience.
Thanks everyone for playing along at home. I'm Michael File. I'll see you next time.